In the quiet suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina, nestled just outside the bustling city, a heinous crime shattered the illusion of peaceful suburban life on a crisp autumn morning in September 2018. The body of 17-year-old Lily Edwards was discovered in the woods behind her family's home. The gruesome scene sent shockwaves through the community, leaving residents locked behind their doors and whispering about the killer who walked among them. Detective James Mitchell, a seasoned investigator with the Raleigh Police Department, was called to lead the case. With his sharp intuition and unwavering dedication, Mitchell delved into the intricate web of lies and deceit surrounding Lily's murder. Little did he know that this case would challenge his perceptions and force him to confront darkest aspects of human nature. As the investigation unfolded, suspicion initially fell on Lily's stepmother, Rachel Parker. The troubled relationship between the two had been no secret to their neighbors, and Rachel's apparent jealousy of her stepdaughter seemed to provide a motive. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly straightforward case lay a twisted tale of betrayal, secrets, and fatal consequences. At the center of this tragedy stood Ethan Parker, Lily's stepfather, a respected businessman and a pillar of the community. Ethan appeared to be the grieving father figure, supporting his wife through their shared loss. But as Detective Mitchell would soon discover, Ethan's carefully constructed facade concealed a web of lies that would ultimately lead to his downfall. This is the story of a murder that tore apart a family, challenged a detective's instincts, and revealed the devastating consequences of unchecked desire and betrayal. It serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most dangerous predators are hiding in plain sight, wearing the mask of normalcy in our very own neighborhoods. Lily Edwards was a vibrant and promising young woman whose life was cut tragically short just weeks before her 18th birthday. Born to single mother Rachel Edwards in 2001, Lily grew up as a bright and curious child, always eager to learn and explore the world around her. From an early age, Lily showed a passion for art and literature. Her teachers often praised her creativity and insightful essays, marking her as a student with great potential. Lily's artwork adorned the walls of her high school, and she had recently begun to explore photography, capturing the beauty of nature in the woods behind her home. The same woods that would ultimately become the site of her untimely death. Despite her academic and artistic achievements, Lily's home life was far from perfect. When she was 12, her mother married Ethan Parker, a successful local businessman. While Lily initially welcomed the stability Ethan brought to their lives, the relationship between stepdaughter and stepfather grew increasingly strained as Lily entered her teenage years. Friends and classmates described Lily as kind-hearted but fiercely independent. She had a small, tight-knit group of friends and was known for standing up against bullying in school. Her best friend, Maya Lee, recalled Lily's dream of studying journalism at NYU, aspiring to become an investigative reporter and uncover truths hidden beneath the surface. Lily's relationship with her mother, Rachel, had always been complex. As an only child, Lily had been the center of Rachel's world for years. However, the arrival of Ethan in their lives created a shift in dynamics. Lily often felt that her mother prioritized her new marriage over their mother-daughter bond, leading to frequent arguments and emotional distance. In the months leading up to her death, those close to Lily noticed a change in her demeanor. She became more withdrawn, spending increased time alone in her room, or wandering in the woods with her camera. Her art took on darker themes, and her usually meticulous schoolwork began to slip. Maya remembered Lily seeming distracted and worried, but when pressed, Lily would brush off concerns with a forced smile and a change of subject. What no one knew at the time was that Lily had stumbled upon a secret that would prove fatal. In her quest for truth and her natural curiosity, she had uncovered something that someone was willing to kill to keep hidden. Lily Edwards' young life, full of promise and potential, was snuffed out just as she stood on the threshold of adulthood, leaving behind a community in mourning and a mystery that would shake Raleigh to its core. Ethan Parker, aged 45 at the time of Lily's murder, presented himself as the epitome of suburban success. A charismatic and well-respected financial advisor, Ethan had built a thriving practice in Raleigh, managing the wealth of some of the city's most affluent residents. His polished appearance and confident demeanor made him a natural leader in the community, serving on the local Chamber of Commerce and coaching youth soccer. Born and raised in a working-class family in Boston, Ethan had clawed his way up the social ladder through a combination of charm, intelligence, and ruthless ambition. He met Rachel Edwards at a charity gala in 2012, and their whirlwind romance culminated in marriage just 8 months later. To the outside world, Ethan appeared to be the perfect husband and stepfather, providing stability and financial security to Rachel and Lily. However, beneath the veneer of success and respectability, Ethan harbored dark secrets and unfulfilled desires. His marriage to Rachel had quickly lost its luster, and he found himself drawn to the excitement of an illicit affair. For the past year, Ethan had been involved in a passionate relationship with Sophia Turner, the wife of his next-door neighbor and close friend, Daniel Turner. Ethan's affair with Sophia was more than just a physical attraction. He felt truly alive in her presence, experiencing a connection he believed he had never shared with Rachel. The two lovers would meet in secret, stealing moments of passion while their spouses were at work or running errands. Ethan became an expert at lying and manipulating those around him to maintain his double life. As Lily entered her late teens, Ethan found himself increasingly uncomfortable in her presence. Her perceptive nature and keen eye for detail made him paranoid that she might uncover his infidelity. He began to avoid spending time alone with his stepdaughter, making excuses to miss family dinners and events. Friends and colleagues described Ethan as charming and generous, always ready with a joke or a helping hand. Daniel Turner, unaware of Ethan's betrayal, often praised him as the best neighbor and friend a man could ask for. Ethan's clients trusted him implicitly, drawn in by his confident assurances and impressive track record. Yet those who knew Ethan best sensed an underlying current of discontent. His assistant at the financial firm noted his increased irritability and distraction in the months leading up to Lily's death. Ethan's longtime friend from college, Ryan Carter, observed that Ethan seemed to be living on edge, as if constantly looking over his shoulder. Little did anyone suspect that behind Ethan Parker's carefully crafted image lay a man capable of unspeakable acts, driven by desperation to protect his secrets and preserve his way of life at any cost. The grisly discovery was made on the morning of September 15, 2018, by a jogger on his usual trail through the woods behind the Parker residence. The body of Lily Edwards lay partially concealed beneath a pile of leaves and branches. Crude attempt at concealment that did little to hide the horrific nature of the crime. Detective James Mitchell arrived on the scene within the hour, his experienced eye taking in every detail. Lily's body showed signs of a violent struggle. Bruises marred her arms and face, and defensive wounds on her hands indicated she had fought desperately for her life. The cause of death was immediately apparent. Jagged wound across her throat, likely inflicted with a serrated blade. As the forensics team combed the area for evidence, Mitchell noted several key details. Lily's camera, which friends claim she always carried on her woodland excursions, was missing. Drag marks and disturbed vegetation suggested the body had been moved from the initial site of the attack, possibly in an attempt to hide it from immediate discovery. Perhaps most tellingly, there were no signs of sexual assault, leading Mitchell to suspect that the motive for the murder was personal, rather than opportunistic. The brutality of the attack pointed to a crime of passion, someone who knew Lily and had been driven to a moment, uncontrollable rage. As news of the murder spread, the once peaceful community of Raleigh descended into a state of fear and suspicion. Neighbors who had previously left their doors unlocked now double-checked their security system. Parents kept their children indoors, and the woods that had once been a place of recreation became a no-go zone, cordoned off with yellow police tape. Detective James Mitchell, 20-year veteran of the Raleigh Police Department, took charge of the investigation with grim determination. Known for his meticulous approach and uncanny ability to see connections others missed, Mitchell had solved some of the department's most challenging cases. As he stood in the Parkers' living room, surveying the family photos on the mantel, he knew this case would test him like never before. The first 48 hours of the investigation were a whirlwind of activity. Mitchell and his team conducted initial interviews with family members, friends, and neighbors. Lily's school records were examined, her social media accounts scrutinized, and her movements in the days leading up to her death were painstakingly reconstructed. Ethan Parker, hearing shell-shocked, provided a detailed account of his whereabouts on the night of the murder. He claimed to have been working late at his office, a fact corroborated by security footage and his assistant's testimony. Rachel Parker, still visibly distraught, struggled to maintain composure during her interview. She admitted to having argued with Lily the afternoon before her disappearance, but insisted it was just typical mother-daughter friction. As Mitchell delved deeper, a picture began to emerge of a household fraught with tension. Neighbors spoke of frequent arguments between Lily and her mother, their raised voices often carrying across manicured lawns. Lily's best friend, Maya Lee, revealed that Lily had been increasingly unhappy at home, feeling trapped and misunderstood. The forensics team's initial findings provided more questions than answers. Trace evidence found on Lily's clothing didn't match samples taken from Ethan or Rachel. The murder weapon, likely a hunting knife or similar serrated blade, was nowhere to be found despite an extensive search, Parker property, and surrounding areas. A breakthrough came when Mitchell interviewed Sophia Turner, Parker's next-door neighbor. Sophia, visibly nervous during the interview, mentioned that she had seen Lily arguing with Rachel in the driveway the day before her disappearance. More intriguingly, Sophia let slip that Rachel had always seemed jealous of her daughter's youth and beauty. This information, combined with the tumultuous home environment and Rachel's shaky alibi for the night of the murder, led Mitchell to focus his attention on Lily's mother. He theorized that years of resentment had finally boiled over, resulting in a confrontation that turned deadly. As the investigation entered its second week, Mitchell felt confident they were on the right track. He obtained a warrant to search Rachel's personal belongings and communications, hoping to find the crucial piece of evidence that would break the case wide open. However, a nagging doubt lingered in the back of Mitchell's mind. Something about Ethan Parker's calm demeanor and perfect alibi struck him as too neat, too convenient. Little did Mitchell know that his instincts were leading him toward a truth far more sinister than he could have imagined. As the investigation progressed, all signs seemed to point toward Rachel Parker as the prime suspect in her daughter's murder. Detective Mitchell, driven by the evidence at hand, began to build a case against the 42-year-old homemaker with a troubled past. Mitchell's team uncovered a series of heated text exchanges between Rachel and Lily in the weeks leading up to the murder. In one particularly vicious argument, Rachel accused Lily of trying to sabotage her marriage, while Lily fired back, calling her mother a pathetic, jealous old woman. These digital breadcrumbs seemed to support the theory of a family dynamic that had reached a breaking point. Further fueling suspicion was Rachel's behavior in the aftermath of Lily's death. While initially distraught, she quickly became defensive and evasive during questioning. Her alibi for the night of the murder was weak. She claimed to have been home alone watching television, with no one to corroborate her story. A search of the Parker home uncovered a journal hidden in Rachel's bedside table. Entries detailed her growing resentment towards Lily, lamenting the girl's beauty and the attention she received from Ethan. One disturbing passage read, "Sometimes I wish she would just disappear. Our lives would be so much better without her constant presence." Judging eyes. The case against Rachel seemed to strengthen when a neighbor reported seeing her return home in the early hours of the morning on the day Lily's body was discovered. Rachel had no explanation for this late-night excursion, claiming she must have been sleepwalking, a condition she had never mentioned before. As circumstantial evidence mounted, Mitchell felt increasing pressure from his superiors and the media to make an arrest. The community, gripped by fear, demanded justice for Lily. Rachel Parker, once a sympathetic figure, became the target of public hatred and suspicion. Mitchell, despite his growing certainty of Rachel's guilt, couldn't shake a lingering doubt. Something about her desperation and fear during interrogations didn't align with the calculated killer he believed had committed this crime. Nevertheless, with the evidence at hand, he prepared to make an arrest. On a rainy Tuesday morning, 3 weeks after Lily's body was found, Rachel Parker was taken into custody. As she was led from her home in handcuffs, she protested her innocence, her cries echoing through the stunned neighborhood. Ethan Parker watched from the doorway, his face an unreadable mask as his wife was placed in the back of a police cruiser. Little did Mitchell know that in his pursuit of justice, he had fallen for a brilliantly orchestrated misdirection, leaving the true killer free to cover his tracks. The case against Rachel Parker seemed airtight, but Detective James Mitchell couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. It was a small detail, easily overlooked, finally set him on the path to the truth. While reviewing security footage from businesses near the Parker home, Mitchell noticed Ethan's car leaving his office parking lot much earlier than he had claimed on the night of the murder. Intrigued by this discrepancy, Mitchell decided to dig deeper into Ethan Parker's life. He re-interviewed Ethan's colleagues and clients, paying closer attention to the man's movements and relationships. It was during a conversation with Ethan's assistant that Mitchell stumbled upon a crucial piece of information. Ethan Parker had been making frequent, unexplained trips to a coffee shop across town, always during his lunch break. Surveillance of the coffee shop revealed a startling discovery. Ethan was meeting regularly with Sophia Turner, neighbor's wife. The two displayed an intimacy that went far beyond friendly neighborly interactions. Mitchell had uncovered Ethan's secret affair. With this new information, Mitchell approached Sophia for another interview. Confronted with evidence of the affair, Sophia broke down, revealing the extent of her relationship with Ethan. They had been involved for over a year, dealing moments together whenever they could. Sophia, racked with guilt, admitted that she had lied in her previous statement to protect Ethan. The affair cast Ethan's alibi for the night of the murder in a new light. Sophia confirmed that they had indeed met that evening, contradicting Ethan's claim of working late. This revelation shattered the carefully constructed timeline Ethan had provided. As Mitchell delved further into the relationship between Ethan Parker and Sophia Turner, he uncovered a web of lies and secret rendezvous. Bank records showed Ethan had recently inquired about transferring large sums of money offshore. Email exchanges hinted at plans for a new life together, away from their spouses and responsibilities. The detective now faced a troubling question. Could Ethan Parker, grieving stepfather, actually be Lily's killer? The motive was unclear. The cracks in Ethan's perfect facade were beginning to show. Mitchell realized he had been so focused on Rachel that he had nearly missed the real story unfolding right before his eye. The pivotal moment in the investigation came from an unexpected source. Lily Edwards' best friend, Maya Lee, approached Detective Mitchell with a small leather-bound book, Lily's personal diary. Maya, racked with guilt, admitted she had initially withheld the diary, fearing it might tarnish Lily's memory. But as suspicion fell on Rachel, Maya realized the truth was more important than protecting her friend's secret. Mitchell spent a sleepless night poring over Lily's private thoughts. The diary painted a vivid picture of a young woman grappling with a terrible discovery. In entries dating back several months, Lily wrote of her growing suspicion that her stepfather was having an affair. She described catching glimpses of furtive text messages, overhearing hushed phone calls, and noticing Ethan's increasingly erratic behavior. The most damning entry came just 3 days before Lily's murder. In shaky handwriting, she recounted following Ethan one evening and witnessing him in an intimate embrace with Sophia Turner. Lily wrote of her disgust and betrayal, expressing uncertainty about whether to confront Ethan, tell her mother. This revelation provided the missing piece of the puzzle. Lily had discovered Ethan's affair, presenting a clear motive for murder. Ethan, a man who had built his life on carefully maintaining appearances, faced the threat of losing everything: his marriage, his reputation, and his financial stability. Armed with this new information, Mitchell revisited the forensic evidence. He ordered a more thorough examination of Lily's clothing, specifically searching for trace evidence that might have been overlooked. The results were telling. Fibers found on Lily's jacket matched those from a rare wool blend used in Ethan's expensive suits. Furthermore, a re-examination of Lily's phone records showed a series of calls to Ethan's office number on the day of her disappearance. Calls had been brief, suggesting Lily might have been trying to confront her stepfather or arrange a meeting. Mitchell also discovered that Ethan had purchased a hunting knife from a local sporting goods store just a week before the murder. The knife, conspicuously missing from the Parker home, matched the type of weapon believed to have been used in the crime. As the pieces fell into place, Mitchell realized the extent of Ethan's deception. He had not only manipulated his family and community, but had also skillfully misdirected the entire investigation towards Rachel. The detective felt a mix of admiration for Ethan's cunning and disgust at his cold-blooded actions. With mounting evidence pointing to Ethan Parker as the killer, Mitchell knew he needed to move quickly. The man who had once been viewed as a pillar of the community was now revealed to be a calculating murderer, willing to sacrifice his stepdaughter to protect his secret. Detective Mitchell decided to confront Ethan at his office, away from the prying eyes of neighbors and the media that had been camped outside the Parker home. As Mitchell and his partner entered the plush confines of Ethan's financial advisory firm, they found him in the middle of a client meeting, a picture of professional composure. In a voice barely above a whisper, Ethan Parker began to talk. He spoke of Lily confronting him in the woods, threatening to expose his affair to Rachel and Sophia's husband. He described the panic that overtook him, the fear of losing everything he had worked for. With tears streaming down his face, Ethan recounted how he had lashed out in desperation, silencing Lily permanently. The confession poured out of him, a torrent of guilt and self-loathing. Ethan described how he had meticulously planned to frame Rachel, playing on the known tensions between stepmother and stepdaughter. As Mitchell placed him under arrest, Ethan's only words were a broken plea. "Don't tell Sophia. Please don't let her know what I've done." The once proud man was led out of his office in handcuffs, his world collapsing around him as the truth of his actions finally came to light. After a 2-week trial and mere hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a guilty verdict on all counts, including first-degree murder. The judge, citing the brutal nature of the crime and Ethan's calculated attempts to deceive investigators, sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Justice had been served, but for those whose lives had been shattered by Ethan's actions, the wounds would take far longer to heal. In the end, the case of Ethan Parker stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable loss, the relentless pursuit of justice, and the enduring power of a young woman's voice, even when silenced, to ultimately reveal the truth.